To be honest, it's the first time when I get an angle to shoot like this, with the city gates in the back. So the place, as you see, is quite cleaned up. We'll put some text remarks about something as we go, but generally, as the old owner carefully ripped off his shit, agreed with us of course, and took it away, that's just a perfect opportunity to start everything from scratch. This is exactly why my guy is here. He wanted himself a place where he can see people. There's people. He wants a place with history. This place has plenty of history. And if you want a deal of your dream here in Minsk, betting on which side of the curtain to turn up when the Iron Curtain is back there, let me know. I'll be happy to assist you on the ground. Hey guys, this is Andrei. I'm a certified translator and a real estate concierge. Right now I'm standing in a freshly purchased client's flat, the American guy I was telling you about previously. A $100,000 property, whose discount actually covered my services fully and left him some money for stationery expenses. Is located a walk away from the train station, and this is a story about how to find a property to purchase here in Minsk. I know these wallpapers don't look like in Catherine the Great's palace, who in fact didn't have any wallpapers at all, but the place is ready for renovation. We'll get you some shots later, because we published just GoPro shots with poor resolution earlier to assess the damage, so to speak, or the scale of the renovation. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'm having nice sound, nice picture just because of your donation, guys. Links are down below. You might push the thanks button. Let's get started. When the property search starts, and right now we'll be talking assuming Minsk property, assuming an apartment, because with houses it's a different story and different regional cities of Belarus have their own peculiarities. Mostly people shop in Minsk. There are some factors that contribute to that, and the sooner you get a straight plan, the better. The worst search, in my experience, occurs when the client hesitates between different frames of budget, like, oh, I have 40,000, no, now I have 60,000. Between geography, he can't settle on a certain district based on professional advice. I know that all the professionals make mistakes and all the analysts make mistakes, but technically you can lay down the factors on the table and the client would do some 5 or 7 views in a completely strange area and then go back and say, yeah, you were kind of right, like there are drunken guys hanging about there, the water quality is shit. So understanding your geography and your infrastructure choice long term, not just what you need immediately right now, is a really, really good and helpful start. Once you're clear with your plan, you have to develop a strategy, because depending on what you're buying, you have to buy it really fast, which is the case with standard one-room apartments in good areas in Minsk. I don't think you'll find a good property within $55,000 now. And there may be a long-term play if you're talking about some Stalin apartment, Stalin-era apartment like this one, or something exquisite, something exclusive, coming with VIP prefix. That may require long-term planning and long-term market analysis, because right now the buying power is there, cheap bank loans are there, people with money are basically buying loads of properties, setting records each month, January and February. March probably will be no exception, and this is the time when you lose no time, basically, if it's something standard. So if you start budget for one of those investment properties, your first property to get your anchor in Belarus, so to speak, your residency ground, you're buying a one-room flat in Minsk. Directly you are here, and you can actually transfer money here. Unless you brought cash, you can transfer money here as you go and do your rounds of views. This is essentially what we did with the American guy. And the new technology, so to speak, facilitated our transfers, and we got the money straightened up just at the second round of views between 3 competitors, where we had one pretty old place with wooden levels, one guy just across the street still holding on to his 104,000. We politely called him a greedy guy. And this place, which basically was flexible enough. The agent was sensible, and we talked sense to the guy, and we got our dream deal. Before you do the legwork, of course, which I can do for you on the ground, or your agent if you pick an agency to work with, not sure how you'll be paying them remotely. With me it's easier. You have to do your short list. You professional can do your short list. If you speak some Russian, which my American was, you can do the short list yourself using the 3 top most respectable websites that list properties in Belarus. There are different other websites. They're not as good. At least the realtors, let's say, do not refer to them as a potential ground or place to market your property. Some websites and applications require local authentication, so you may need to have a local phone number for your search. And then, again, knowing the geography and knowing what the terms mean to avoid finding any BS, surprisingly cheap apartments or rooms or any other crap, you may start your search. Again, I just had a deal that never happened because the children of 21, 23 years old could not accompany the Indian couple who were looking to buy their investment holiday home. So the whole thing didn't work because they were hoping to do one property for the whole family. And if the children are over 18 years old, that doesn't work. So that guy was looking for some $18,000 properties, $25,000 properties. And he wasted plenty of time because essentially those were rooms that do not make any sense in this context. After you're done with the short list, you start making calls, you start your rounds of views, and generally if you have 10 properties that you shortlist and then view, maybe 8 or 9 because one of them gets sold on the way, one of them changes their mind statistically, you start making a short list, seeing how many people talk sense and how many of them are ready for a bargain. And that's where a local person, local assistant, a real estate concierge perhaps, or just a translator can be helpful just to see culturally and in other ways how much the people are ready to be flexible, how much they are ready to get their deal, not the 105,000 they want, but let's say 100,000 that are on the table. And then you proceed to arranging the deal. The wallpapers from last year, model range, they're called Babushka's Delight. Anyway, after you are ready with negotiations, you better have your money on the table, or on the table like figuratively, in the bank, in the pocket, in the drawer, whatever. You don't exactly walk with a bag of cash like this on the street, of course, but you're reasonably precautious, but don't go paranoid. A bank cell is appropriate if you wish to put your stuff in there until the deal day, but I wouldn't even call it super necessary, although with the rental flats one can never be too careful. All the way through, your assistant, or a real estate concierge, or a certified translator, it's not really a great deal to have just a translator, just a guy speaking English accompany you unless they have a good experience. And again, I'm not the only guy with experience in these matters, but having someone who's certified, who knows where to go and where not to go, may save you plenty of time. There is a certain type of people who prefer to research the matter on their own, to scrupulously collect bits of information and stitch them together. Generally, they don't make my clients because they kind of got it on their own. They can get some of my knowledge from the channel on their own, and then try and monetize it and buy something on the market themselves. Well, that's statistics. It can't be helped. I can't please everybody, and the rest, including this charming gentleman who is about my age. Generally, my kind of clients are aged 25 to 45, 25 to 45 plus, are messaging me for assistance and from visa support and the translation. I can do passport translations on top of other things, and all the papers that are needed here and the copies that are needed there. I navigate them through the process in the capacity of a certified translator. The deposit deal happens, arranged by both parties. You put some money on the table, they stop advertising, you stop searching, and the deposit deal then, in a week or two that it takes to a real estate agency check the background of the property. It took about 7 days, 4 hours to dig into this place's history here. It was a one-family property. There were no ill ends or, let's say, question marks left. It was privatized in the 90s. And the guy who inherited it was selling it for the sake of upgrading for something smaller and more modern, more eye-pleasing. When the background check is complete, both parties arrange to meet at the Cadastre office. The ETI is the old term, it's called Cadastre office. The official term is much longer, I'll put it here on the screen. And basically over 1 or 2 hours, depending on how you settle, the money can be just tossed across the table. The money can go through a bank account, which is called Safe Deal. I will not be going into the mechanics of that because by the time you are planning to buy your property, it may change. We can just say generally cash or bank. After that, you go back to the registrar, just you having a paper from the seller that he has got his money, the acceptance act for the money. And you sign the acceptance of the ownership, the transition of the ownership, and get your certificate of ownership for the property. So you're becoming an owner, except in 1 day, in a matter of a couple of hours. From the very visa support point to the very acceptance act for the money and the acceptance act for the meter, there's a ton of surprises that can occur and that theoretically don't make the job of a real estate agent and theoretically aren't a bother of a translator. Because if you take a translator from the side, they may be just, giving you linguistic support, which is what they're supposed to do in theory, but I'm not just an ordinary translator. Thank God I'm trained in these matters. I have some experience over the last 3 years. I've got some cases which got me surprised more than once about how people can be professionally handling or not handling their responsibilities. So unlike some nice high-ranking agencies in Minsk, I don't just shake hand and say goodbye to a client who would like to get his paperwork straight after the process, all the way up to utilities and immigration. About utilities we'll talk in the next video. I pretty much guide the buyer and he becomes the new resident of Belarus, although just temporarily. The property allows you to be a resident for a year, but that already takes some issues off one's mind, including extending your visa if you're about to get a deal when the migration office says no, we don't see any grounds for you to extend your visa or something. That's where I can help officially, and a few other things. We will list these side functions in a different video that we will call a real estate concierge commercial. For now, thank you very much for watching. If you have any experience about buying a property, we'll make another video about selling a property very soon. And if you had whatever related experiences, please share them in the comments. As usual, if you wish to have some professional, educated, to the point, based on your case advice consultancy, it's a paid service. I'll be happy to render it to you online if you are planning to relocate anytime soon. If it's not something you plan, maybe just a tourist visit, something about sightseeing, something about getting in here, you can watch the video Belarus Travel Advice. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be happy to see you at the Minsk Expats meeting. The next one is announced down below. This was Andrei from Minsk. Cheers. See you later.